Fnatic's turn to ban. Phoenix's turn to ban.
Enchantress.
Phoenix's turn to pick.
Witch Doctor!
Phoenix's turn to pick.
Bat Rider!
Fnatic's turn to pick.
Welcome back, guys. Game 3 coming up for you here between Fnatic and MVP
Fnatic's
Phoenix.
turn to ban.
It's turned out to be a pretty good one. Head ourselves into the draft and find out exactly what we're dealing with here. And the interesting hero picks, both sides, out of the ordinary, nothing too interesting. In fact, pretty much the same as we saw in the previous game, right, Scan?
Yeah, I think it's exactly the same. These first four picks for teams, and I think that's fair. I mean, MVP Phoenix, you won the game, so well done. Pick similar heroes. Fnatic, to a point early on where it looked like they should win the game. You know, they had a good position. What they do differently is they ban out the Spectres, they won't be against that. But we should maybe talk a bit about mid one's OD, just because, I mean, last game ended up being atrocious for him. Early on was okay maybe, but then he started dying and
He got tri-laned.
Yeah, he got tri-laned, they pressured him hard. End of the game, I think his Lion had more net worth than him or something like that. It's important to talk about just because mid one's played so much in Invoker this patch. Like, way more than any other hero. He's played 23 Invoker games. On 18 of those 23. His next most played hero has only got 11 games. That's OD comes behind that, and none of those heroes are as convincing in terms of like his win-loss record. So I don't know if that's that he's just not as good at these heroes. I actually think it's much more likely that there might be a concern here that Fnatic got so used to playing with the Invoker so much that when they have to go back and adjust to playing around the other heroes, they need to like move their mindset again each time. And you see in this match, MVP so far, they first picked Invoker game 1, they banned it game 2, and they banned it again in game 3. So they're not going to give mid 1 Invoker in the series.
If you look at Invoker, he creates farm and space for himself with the escape mechanisms, with Tornado, with Ghost Walk and all of that, and just having like Forge Spirit, Sunstrike, having global kill power, and having Forge Spirits to actually farm jungle with. He literally creates space for himself. Whereas OD, you need to actively create space for him if he has a bad time, or if you want him to get a boost of gold, you need to go out and harass your opponents and draw them across the map so OD can have a good time, or you have to fight with the OD. Fnatic tried to with the Bloodlust, with the Vlads, they wanted to go and fight with the OD, but a couple of those don't work out. A little bit rough around the edges. Time around pick Enchantress. Be roaming duo at least after 7-8 minutes towards third lane to try and gank them up, and MVP go back for the Wind Ranger, and it looks like duo was comfortable over on that one.
Yeah, but the thing that I want to go back to is that there's this interesting, I don't know, it might not be popular to talk about it because DJ's Enchantress is so good, done so well in it in both these games, but there's an interesting interplay between the fact that one of your supports is that Enchantress, and you end up in a position where one of your, your OD or Gyro are getting picked off, they need someone to make space for them. Now, firstly, you've got one less support that can save them if you have an Enchantress, and secondly, you've got one less support that's actively making space for them, because the Enchantress does that in the lane stage, but after the lane stage, Enchantress is more like gonna farm, and it's gonna fight with you in the team fight. Not really the hero that like runs off with the smoke and someone off and makes space for you. Like, it's just, in terms of the tools it has, in terms of like being able to have disables or lockdowns or spells which disrupt, save, disjoint, move things around, it's not that kind of hero. So I think we do have to look at both sides of the coin, and that's why my analysis of last game was very much that Fnatic missed their timing window, because the Enchantress flourished early on, it gave them that window, and then they just didn't do enough with that window, and once you miss it, once a few of those pickoffs happen and you haven't done enough with your group up, suddenly the game is very MVP favored. And I think with the drafts that we have here, assuming MVP go for a big sort of carry for their last pick, it'll be a very, very similar situation to last game, where Fnatic are the ones who need to do something with their window, with the Enchantress, in this sort of early mid game, and otherwise it could swing back to MVP again.
But what is going to be that hard carry for MVP? out there, but I think that'll probably be played out by Fnatic. Then you're not left with that many options. MP shown to have comfortable games with. You know, the Juggernaut's taken. I guess Gyrocopter is there and available for you. Well, for me, a mid-game carry and maybe a limits MVP and how they can scale.
MVP are very fond of Ember Spirit, right? And
Ooh,
that's the combination Secret always ran with the Wind Rangers, so I think that that's a decent pickup here. Like, Rubik's quite good at disabling Ember Spirit, but again, it's all you have. That's the only thing you really have to disable it until Odie's got a Hex.
Fanatics turn to ban.
yeah, ban out of Ohio's Phoenix. The last that are left, you know, your Tidehunter, your Nyx Assassin might be what they look for. Drow Ranger,
Phoenix's
banned out
turn
by
to pick.
Fnatic. We're looking for an expert for your shout. Oh, Ursa is there. Ursa's available. Good against the Enchantress, just having that
Stands ready.
max speed for you, but MP still favors the
Fanatics
spec.
turn to pick.
And I was just looking for like heroes that, you know, MP is more comfortable on, because very rarely steps out of his comfort zone in terms of hero picks. Well, Fnatic, Ohio's final hero. Gone for some greedy drafts in the past, and gone for like Lone Druid as well as 3 relatively greedy core heroes. I think here, something like, you know, the Prophet.
I think Sven puts them on a shorter clock.
10 seconds
Would've.
remaining.
That's probably why MVP go for it. Like, if we're talking about Fnatic having timings, they have an early timing window. The Sven's just gonna get that immense amount of farm much quicker than any other hero. Puts pressure on Fnatic from the beginning of the game, and we're gonna pick the Nyx Assassin, which does sort of feed into that kind of thing. I think that 3-4-3 is thinking where we're gonna dominate is early, and we're just gonna like keep that pressure on them non-stop, and Sven's never gonna get to that point where all of a sudden he's got twice the net worth of anyone else.
After complete, this is game 3 and a best of 5. It's 1 apiece. 3 and a best of 3.
And I actually remember very vividly the game where Fnatic knocked out OG from the Shanghai Major, where Ohio did play Nyx in the offlane in that game, and DJ was playing, I think, Chen, not Enchantress, but he just got he got the Sats sent it there, and the Nyx and the Sats are just like 1 versus heroes or something.
5
So
seconds remaining.
Ohio had like 12 HP regen a second or something, though, with that Sata.
yeah, no, absolutely. So it's more just like let's be on the lookout for if we get Sats, but I suppose we should always be on the lookout for that. If the Channel Enchantress gets that as their first creep, it's always trouble for the enemy team. It's just like, that's just something you accept if you play against those heroes. They might get the best creep at the beginning, and one of your lanes is going to really struggle.
It is such a strong one, though. HP regen and a nuke. So many problems. Good overboard there out from MVP, and this is the one against Enchantresses and stuff like that, but Dubu is spotted. DJ, I don't know if they've got any sentries. They don't, so this ward can be countered immediately. These lanes are setting up. Net safe lane Juggernaut, 3-4 on the Rubik, just up against 4F's Batrider. Oh, Febby and Dubu on the Vengeance Witch Doctor. So MP in that tri-lane again. These are the 2 spots that can roam into mid and tri-lane with Kuro's Wind Ranger to maybe try and shut down
30 seconds to
D a
battle.
little bit. Oh, Ohio's Nyx. It's like to roam around early on, you know, look for the top rune spot, try to control things up there. We'll try and catch off these supports. Here's level 6, you've got to look for that TP mid and the Vendetta straight out.
I had a really good Nyx game recently as well, a couple of days ago against TNC. He's very, very, very good at this hero. So I think that's, if he gets his early levels, if he has a good timing
The
on
battle
like
begins.
stick items and levels, this is a hero that he's fully capable of controlling the game on. It's much more versatile than the Beastmaster. That's one thing going for them, whereas the Beastmaster is kind of like, you're gonna roar someone and go ham on them, or you're gonna group with your team and push. The Nyx can sneakily make plays on its own, be around the map, and stun more than once in a fight. It's gonna provide a different kind of dynamic for them, at least once the fighting stage begins.
Okay. Patiently for the camp to spawn. Dark Troll isn't the worst of creeps to set things up and start off battle. One. Already aggressively pushing onto this enemy ramp. Kuro's forced to wind run himself across, but get the fate it looks like until there we go. Kuro throws out a couple more arrows. Stars into the OD's face. Playing Ohio. The Dark Troll as well. Going in for a couple of punches onto Dubu. annoying here to try and handle this. Look at that, and snare, stun, skeletons whacking away at the Witch Doctor, and he's already dropped very low in terms of HP and has one tango remaining. Another Astral mid keeps QO outside of creep wave and stops the last hitting too effectively. How's bot lane doing? 4-Hour's Batrider is healing himself up, but he's still level 1. 343 and Net has done a great job at zoning him out. What did he use telekinesis? Spin though. Still.
Heroes having boots, so that's why the Jugger starts with boots. They want to potentially be able to kill the bats, but Rubik doesn't provide that much damage, unfortunately, so even with the telekinesis, it's just right clicks. And you know, if you had like Eventual Spirits or Crystal Maiden, something like that, then the spin probably kills. You have that disabled.
They're aiming for mid for the Astral into Central Stomp. Be able to get it. Bro, oh man. Jay, he's playing less of the active, I'm gonna run into a lane with my hero in a creep role, playing more of the, I'm gonna send creeps little by little to these lanes and maybe try and stack up a bit for myself in the jungle to farm. Realizing that top lane isn't really the easiest to gank, bottom lane it's Batrider, you could try it there. Ranger's pretty good at dodging things out.
Bahar has succeeded massively in this lane, by the way. This is like, you look at their picking out, they sent out more sentries now to unblock their spawn, but both of the sentries that MVP placed were before the spawn even happened. They didn't even wait to see if the camp was blocked. And to me that says that they thought that they could try and keep the next level 1. They thought they could just zone it out completely at the beginning, and they did not succeed in doing that at all. With the help of that Dark Troll creep, Nyx got into the lane, affected the creep equilibrium, and got a lot of levels.
400 gold spent by the supports as well. 4 sentries. 4 sentries. Toward that one observer. Well placed in the very corner of that full camp there. Go finally gets his bottle delivered to him though. DJ, he took out the stack, and what level is he now? Still level 2. Massive stack, just a little one with a Wildwing Ripper, able to get himself a golden experience, but 3, 7, it's pretty even as it kicks off between Juggernaut and Sven, as well as the Wind Ranger and the OD. For the Batrider kind of outlast hitting in jungle a little bit more. Assassin, well, yet to see DJ's first rotation, he's holding onto a smoke and he now has a Satyr as well. Looking for QO. Astral into a couple of hits. And a couple of blast after. Definitely could be the undoing of that Wind Ranger.
At the same time, the MVP smoke rotation is coming towards the exact same lane. The Witch Doctor and the Vengeful Spirits, and could be trouble for mid one, who probably feels very confident right now with the Saturn nearby. He might actually push onto the enemy ramp.
Bro doesn't have very much health. Just below 300, moved towards the bot rune spot, but gonna go in onto mid, the Shackle Shot to start things off, and now with the Magic Missile mid one, he's gonna try and Astral himself. No, he turns back onto QO, but he's dead. Regardless. Good rotation in. And
I think that's
how does Astral work now? Experience shared. Because I know at one point you did.
I'm not sure about that.
You do now.
I think you do.
Yeah. You got golden experience. I just remember at one point Astral removed you from the game so you didn't get any golden experience shared and like that, but looks like that's been changed. I knew it was changed a while back ago. Couldn't remember which way it was changed.
Right. But I think the timing on that gank is so good. I don't know if it's lucky or if it's deliberate, but as the Satyr comes to the lane, it's when they smoke. Because I just think it's almost forgivable if you mid one that feel a bit confident for that space of time, because this creep really is meant to own you the lane. And he goes a bit forward, he does get caught out for it, and they're setting up for another smoke in the exact same position again. So not necessarily tri-laning against him mid this game, but they're putting similar amount of pressure on him with these ganks.
I mean, if I was in a pub game as this OD, I would be screaming at my team saying I'm being tri-laned. I would still call this being tri-lane, man. You got 3 heroes running into your lane over and over again. Hero with these power shots passed on to mid, but he's playing very defensively now, passive behind this range creep, Febby and Dubu. Now he's moved forward with the Shackle Shot, not quite latching there, and mid one's gonna barely escape out of this one. The TP's coming in, 3-4-3 starts, means now he's double hellbent, smash, and QO, the win run just in time, but Ohio's got another mana burn, and it's by Carapace, the cast bounces back between them, and QO is trapped in between 4 heroes. Loses life, and this time it's the role reversal.
That's maybe ultimately a little bit too predictable to do it twice in a row, and Mid1 would have said, guys, this is what they did last game. They're gonna keep harassing me. Can we just put an end to this? And I checked, the Knicks had picked up a TP scroll and rotation starts coming in, so well read from Fnatic.
Are fortified. Radiant's top
Low,
tower is
41
under
last
attack.
hits. His Helmet of the Dominator is nearly done. We've already stacked up the Ancients for him. I guess Forev made a little move over there and did that for him. A lot of gold built up. There are no big jungle stacks. Gonna have to rely on Ancient as well as this large camp off to the side. While I'm going. Still needs his dagger. He's rushing into it again with from him. He doesn't like the bottle or the tranquil boot. Slow build up. He just wants that blink dagger as quickly as he possibly can.
The naked blink, just the raw power.
Dire's bottom
I don't know, I mean,
tower
there's-
is under attack.
Yeah, there's a lot of different preferences about this. You see the tranquils, you often see the bottle. Forev last game definitely did the exact same thing, and I don't know. Is it the question is about efficiency, right? The smaller items help you like farm even quicker. Because if they don't, I can sort of see why you go straight for the blink.
Go catch a battle here. Ohio Vendettas in time, and Kuro, his invisibility revealed by the tower, and gonna get hit a fair amount, but then Sentry dropped the power shot across. Ohio's gonna get himself away. Tier 1 for tier 1 trade-off, as Fnatic have already taken that tower, and it looks like they want to come back and defend their one up at top. Spot on another TP in. MP is very deep in behind enemy lines, and Net comes in to spin. Free telekinesis is good, but is it good enough? MP still surviving through, but not quite enough, and the Omni Flash is still available from Net anyway. Unlikely that Sven escaped from that one, and in the meantime, EJ, there's mid one, pressuring on for tier 1.
The slip up from MP. He ran forward towards the tower. His whole team was running back even before the TP. So he'll have said, sorry guys, my bad.
One, east across, bottom ruin spot, shackle shot. Slow him down a little bit, but mid one of course does have his standing eclipse, and well, that was wailer that Bebby doesn't even need it. The stun will not land, but get a kill on the Vengeful Spirit regardless. Bebby, he could chain up with QO, but the movement here from Fnatic, so well synchronized. They're grouping up as 4, grouping up and making the most of this, where MVP want to try and get these little, like, it feels like MVP are trying to do the bare minimum to get these kills. You know, smoke up ports to look in for a kill, try and bring in 2 heroes to get the trade. Fnatic realize that's what MVP do, so they bring in all 4 or 5.
Yep.
Snipe?
Yep, that was a snipe. Oh, shot snipe on Rubik.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
But yeah, it almost feels like it's the point that you made during the draft, that Invoker can create its own space and OD needs the help of teammates, and first death of the game, maybe mid one was like, guys, we talked about this needs to be different this time, and since then Fnatic have actually played into his lane more than once, and now he's gonna kill his tower, and much better start to the game for him than last game.
Pick up these Ancients as well, so there's only one little stack here for MVP. Dagger for Forev though, this could lead to something. He doesn't buy himself a suit, you're not looking for the immediate jump on body. Always got to look though at this Enchantress, currently sitting at 2.7k net worth, and DJ just farms himself through the jungle. Gonna transition nicely into another core hero, while the supports and MVP are incredibly poor. Tried to give so much to the Sven, Wind Ranger and the Bat Rider by giving them jungle, by not stacking, by not pulling, just roaming into mid and roaming into the top safe lane. But Engine Witch Doctor have nothing. They need to go and kill towers, they need to go and kill heroes, honestly. Fluffy's looking towards mid, but QO's the one that's caught. Telekinesis and the impetus damage is more than enough for Fnatic to take him down. This move from MVP, they wanted to play into that, but then Forev caught with like Carapace. Now the Astral down mid, one tries to throw a couple of arcane orbs down onto him, but MP joins the fight. The Storm Hammer, it flies down onto 343, and the Ghost Strength is popped out for MP as well. He's only going to get the Rubik though. Not a big kill.
Dire's courier has been killed.
Courier dies. DJ just swipes it down in one big spear. Net spins in on this flash at the ready. MP, the Sven, still wails into him with the Ghost Strength up. Stuns back onto Ohio, but the damage output. MP shredded. Fnatic run into the dark jungle. They'll look for another one. Forev is caught. The Bat Rider has no way to run, no escape available. A final quick uphill. Mid one. Bat Rider and Ohio just captures more. Bebby is just MVP being ripped apart at the seams.
Yeah, it's starting to feel a lot like the first game of the series where MVP just didn't look quite up to what was going on. It looked like Fnatic's timings were better than theirs. Fnatic had a much
Dire's
more
top tower
concrete
is
plan.
under attack.
MVP had these kind of like just smoke your heroes somewhere and see what happens kind of, and that's what it's starting to feel like now this game.
Dire's top
Problem
tower
for them. It's
has
a
fallen.
really big problem. There's already a big lead for Fnatic. Spen's a hero that needs to be ahead. It needs to be ahead. It's not okay for Spen to be at the same net worth as the enemy carry. It's definitely not okay for Spen to be behind the enemy carry. Fnatic are probably going to try and close out a lot of towers while they recognize that they have such a big lead already this early in the game.
With Ohio available just to reveal everybody and go invis like this, Forev caught with a carapace and stun, and now stolen out as a Firefly from the Rubik, but telekinesis with a Fade Bolt will be more than enough to secure that one. Stun's thrown. The MP has no availability to chase down the Nyx assassin. QO. Windrun is gone. Midone wants to fight into this. There's a stun out for the Defensive Spirit, and MP, God's Strength is here. The Stormhammer flies for 3-4-3. Firefly forward. They're looking for the damage of the Midone. He heals himself up with the Fairy Fire, but it's not enough. 3-4-3's Firefly is still burning through MVP there, though. His neck spins down Fubu, and now looks for more. DJ in for the shot into another one. And another one. And Febby TPing away, and there's no stun or telekinesis to damage up, but not quite enough. 3-4-3 barely missing out on that kill. Stuck up on the high ground now. Lasso. Forever he gets something for his trouble, but is he going to lose his life as well? Omni Slash bounces back onto him, and 3-4-3 still survives! Burns through fire and the flames as he's stuck up on the high ground, but MVP 11-5 lead for Fnatic now, and this fight recap's going to show not a massive takeaway there for Fnatic, as they did lose their Outworld Devourer, but it's still hero after hero after hero. MVP just losing multiple guys. Battle through and gain anything.
It's a sign of how far ahead Fnatic are, because I think Midone's initiation there was a mistake. He astraled the Wind Ranger, and Ohio's Nyx had no mana. So if he had mana, if he had the stun, they could easily, between the Nyx and the Rubik and the ODF, just burst down the OD straight away. But you could see Ohio actually like tried to drop his Arcane Boots, use his 2 Magic Stick charges, like get as much mana as he could, and I'm pretty sure he said to Midone, I don't have mana. It was a very clunky initiation. That's why Midone ends up going down. Even so, Fnatic get the better of the trade, and that, again, to me, that only speaks to the fact that they're just generally this far ahead, this early on, that MVP don't have the tools to fight them properly. Sven is in no position to be involved in fights in the game yet.
A little range creep, got microed into the Ancient stack. A little bit early. Then, oh, he's gonna go into the Sange, and I often feel this is a big mistake Sven players. That we've seen it in the past where the Sange and Yasha slows down your blink and slows down your PKB. Obviously MP, the Sange and Yasha is going to give him a lot more fighting power and maybe gets him impetus he needs. It's slower, it's more incremental, it's going to tank him up and give him all the stats. Definitely work out for him here against all this damage output from Fnatic. Definitely see this build, slip up and cause a little bit of an issue in the past.
Yes. I mean, he'd rather have a blink and a BKB, right? The point is the S and Y is like one cheap item that does a bit of both. You know, it gives you some mobility and gives you some tank ability. But if you get into a situation where what you actually need is spell immunity, it's not you're gonna be like, I wish I went for BKB. And if you get into a situation where what you actually need is true mobility, then you're gonna wish you had a blink. But
it's just so easy for Fnatic. They see QO, they kill QO. Ohio now sitting on Arcanes and 2,100 gold. He's getting closer to that blink dagger at this point. Fnatic, they just ball up and take down a tier 2, maybe even look Roshan in a little bit. Wild Wing. Out the tornado.
Look at the ward that Ohio placed on the right hand side, like one of those Tinker wards. Like that could easily catch Bats trying to initiate on them if he wanted to defend the tower.
Febby looking for. I think they can defend this tier 2. Or was MP just shoving mid and top lane respectively. That's it. Lead just keeps on increasing. OD, he's 1, 2, and 3. He's going for an Orchid.
Interesting.
It's a very glass cannon build.
This is the build that RTZ was going when he was playing a lot of OD for EG all the time of Starladder. And the idea, I think, is that it's the best offensive potentially, I think. If you can trust your team to the setup for your top lane,
yeah,
setting up.
They should be able to kill him. Death Ward In the end, there'll be enough damage, but Enchantress kind of bottom lane pairs up with Ohio, and just the two of them kill off QO. There's a 3-man commitment and 2 big ultis there from MVP to take down Net. What did it cost Fnatic to kill QO? Just a Vendetta and a bit of mana from DJ, that's it.
And MVP not even brave enough to finish the tower, which is on 200 HP after they make that kill. They realize it's even that is risky for this them.
Rev still needs that force down. The Sanjanash is done, and it's not a bad timing here for MP. It will allow him to farm into that blink BKB, but you're dealing with Orchid from mid one very nearly completed. The glass cannon build gives him the silence that he needs against the Wind Ranger, against the Sven. Even against that Bat Rider blink initiation to counter out and stop the lasso just before he drags someone back out. He doesn't have any HP to survive through any of this, but he's got double heals. He's got the Juggernaut as well as the Enchantress to throw Healing Ward and the Sprites to heal himself up. Or Astral Imprisonment. So Ohio having Blink Dagger, he can always blink Carapace into the Firefly to stop the Bat Rider as well, so they've got multiple ways of keeping one's OD alive, even if they don't have any like direct hero that's like, yeah, that's a saving hero.
Yeah, and for me the really big problem for MVP is that Sven is not Spectre. The hero doesn't operate the same way as it at all. Like, Sven's supposed to get ahead of you and then beat you down. It's not meant to come back, it's not meant to farm its way back in. It needs to get that gap on you. It needs to have one more item than you. Spectre from last game is, it's, you know, once you stop the enemy's timing, once you stop pulling it back, suddenly that's a hero that just punishes and stays ahead for the rest of the game.
Oh, they see forever, yes they do, jump in, kill. Easy stuff, Firefly stolen by 343 so we can start playing Quidditch again.
We're at the point where even if there's one really nice fight for MVP, Fnatic would still probably be ahead. I mean, obviously they still want to get that fight. They just probably need 2 of them rather than 1.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Roshan uncontested. Duo. And with this very late Maelstrom, even later than the previous game. 18 minutes in and he doesn't even have it completed. It's been rough going here for the 5,500 net worth Wind Ranger who's behind the Enchantress. Half the net worth of the Juggernauts. Battle Fury. 18 minutes in, he goes for the Battle Fury and you're allowed to farm even faster.
I think it's exactly right. That's exactly what I was talking about. Like, they stay ahead and extend your lead even more because you're not, the composition you're against is not one that you're worried about. Like, the game goes late, they're suddenly gonna make some huge comeback. Like, sure, MVP do have heroes that are good late, but they're not necessarily better than Fnatic's. So if you just keep getting that gold lead, fine.
Ohio is doing a dance of death around. He killed off the Dire Courier, now he's setting up for maybe a kill off of Dubu. One will cancel out this teleportation with Astral and just a kill. Really else to go there. Ohio just outplaying everyone. 1, 0, and 11 on his Nyx Assassin. Again, he's a part of the majority of the kills for Fnatic.
And it's, again, I want to go back to, it's an important difference between when he was playing Beastmaster last game. Beastmaster is by no means a weaker offlaner, in fact it's a stronger one I think all round than a Nyx. But when we're talking about the Enchantress pick and how it gives you like this extra carry potential but less control, it's nice to have a hero like Nyx which has got much more consistent control, like lots of things that it provides on short cooldown rather than the Beastmaster which is just like that one roar or that one Necro summon and push. And I think that's allowed for a slightly better balance of, you know, okay, we've got extra damage from Enchantress, but we've also got what we're lacking from not having that control on the supports in our offlaner.
There you go. The Alpha Wolf and the Healing Ward. Does he have his force down? He does. This might be an opportunity to blink Lasso on the mid one. Carapace and the Ohio's Blink Dagger ready to fly through though if they really require, and QO running low on mana and already with a focus fire on cooldown. A good Chakra Shot to start things off, and now the Blink Lasso, but look at that. There's no Firefly from Forev. He knew what was going to come out, but mid one's still alive. They couldn't do any damage through the Lasso, and this is going to be MVP. Still hiding behind their racks with 2 ultis down. The God Strength not even coming out of MP as he threw the Storm Hammer, dodged by Net. Barracks falling. MVP, oh dear. Ohio jumps forward, not going to throw a stun. Bringing the fear into MVP and making them run back to their ancients as they just chunk into these racks. Net cannot dodge that one, and the Chakra Shot will latch. Back onto Ohio, good Death Ward, and Net Astral doesn't drop, has Aegis, MP stance, double throw strength is still there and available. Net finally dies, no he doesn't. Lovely slash through, they kill off 4, and MVP die in their own base. 4 are gone with a buyback through from the Wind Ranger. Oh, Sven might have to do the same. They're going to lose one full lane. Still a tier 2 mid though, that MVP have the last bastion of hope. Helping Fnatic was towards the mid barracks, but 21 minutes in, we're looking at a massive lead here for Fnatic and maybe even just a one-way street stomp.
That's what it feels like to me. I mean, Wind Ranger shackled 2 heroes to each other. Bad Rider caught the OD, its ideal target, pulled him back. Then Wind Ranger shackled 2 heroes to each other again. And that's still a fight where MVP killed nobody. Like, what could go better for them? Like, maybe the enemy team like falls asleep and Sven cleaves them to death. Like, I just think that all of the things that MVP wants to happen happened. They still lost off.
Full staff from forever. Who's this Astral on? Who have they caught? Is it the Wind Ranger? It is. QO now going to try and turn back onto net, but swipe down the line of duty. Lasso forward and Swimmer Cape is there, but the double self through onto net. This might be his death. He'll spin in 2 seconds time. He'll go to stop his life. Keep himself alive. He's actually not surviving. He's not dying. Surviving through it all. The stun comes through, but he's dodged again by the Blade Fury from net. And somehow, Juggernaut doesn't die.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Well, this is probably going to be another side of Rax's. I don't really know. It's not even like MP doesn't even have a blink. Never mind the BKB, so I don't see how he gets in a position where he could get lucky and suddenly clears them all dead. He can't even make that position.
Not quite there from Ohio. Good attempt though. She's got to play with the York and the stun. York turns back onto MP, but held in place. Dubu. Oh, there's no more advance there, but you're right. Second lane of Rax fully gone. Fnatic happy with this? Or do they want to go for a third? Stopping them. All they need is a creep wave now.
Yeah, I mean the only thing they could even possibly be worried about is the OD doesn't have ulti ready, but I don't think they need that to win a fight.
Save net, Ohio. Cancel out the Death Ward, but MP, he's gone in looking for mid one. The Omni Slash though saves him up, and the healing ward is dropped, so he'll back up to full pretty much. And mid one's still not dying. The standard ground will finally drop in the Firefly, and the damage output from MVP is looking okay now, but the buyback from Sven is not expended. MP is not buying back. This is their last lane. Rax is their last defense, and maybe that's why they're talking about calling GG. And they'll just tap out. Game number 3 goes the way of Fnatic, 2-1, and this was really devastating.
Yeah, this was felt a lot like game 1, which was maybe even more. Yeah, more one way than game 1. Game 1 to me felt quite one way, but this felt very one way. And in a sense, I still feel like it's Fnatic who are following through with a coordinated, like, from beginning to finish game plan. And MVP in both game 1 and 3 with a bit more of a kind of thrown together